I connected. All right.
So as soon as you connect, you're gonna go to the right hand side and say pause recording. I mean the left hand.
Good morning, real life. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you. I hope you can hear me. I feel a little far from the camera this morning for some reason. Let me just start by saying thank you for that wonderful birthday song. Thank you for the acknowledgement. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Those of you sending me thank yous in the chat, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good morning. So good to see you. Listen, we haven't seen each other for a while, and I know we've sort of streamlined our gathering because we're meeting virtually, but we haven't seen each other in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to tell you, I miss you. I miss seeing you. I miss hugging you. I miss being close to you. I miss being physically in your energy. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ask you if you're in a place to do so. Some of you may not be, but if you're in a place to do so, can you take your phones off both mute and also, unmute your video as well so that I can see you, we can see each other. And I just really just want to just say good morning to everyone. Oh, see, I'm starting to feel better already. It's so great to see you. To see you, it's wonderful. I see you. Oh my goodness! Hey, Nehemiah. I see Miss Pat. Oh, I saw Pearl, Vanessa,
Hey, Jewel.
Vanessa, Miss Ross, Minister Diara. So good to see you. So good to see you, all of you. Hey, Janelle. Oh my goodness. Hey, family. It's great to see you. And for those of you who are not, Miss Pat, good to see you. For those of you who are not in a place to show yourself, because I get it. I want to hear your voices so you can just take your phone off mute and just speak a word of life, of power to those in the space today. Whatever blessing you want to bless. You know what we'll do? We'll do it in turns actually today. So I know we're going a little off our normal, but I'm just going to say, I bless you with, and whatever it is you want to choose, you can take your video, put your video on, take your phone off mute, and just say, I bless you with. Don't call on anybody. You're blessing all of us. So I want to start. I bless you with love.
I bless you. I bless you with comfort.
Comfort, yes.
I bless you with joy.
Joy. Woo.
I bless you with good fortune.
Good fortune, yes.
I bless you with peace.
I receive that peace.
Yes.
Receive that peace.
I bless you with health.
Health. We bless each other with health.
I bless you with resiliency.
Ooh, resiliency. I love it. That's a good word for today too. Yes.
I bless you with prosperity.
Prosperity. We're being blessed. Yes.
I bless you with hope.
Hope. Hope. I heard hope. Did I
bless you with knowledge.
Knowledge. Yes.
I bless you with kindness.
Kindness.
I bless you with patience.
Patience. Yes. I thought I heard that.
I bless you with gratitude.
Gratitude. Yes. Julie's like, yes, that one. Yes, so we're blessing each other. We have that power within us. Hi, Brother Solomon. We have that power within us to be a blessing to each other. And so to be able to use that power to give who needed that today? I needed that today. I need all of that, the peace, the kindness, the patience, the resiliency. And if there's ever a time we need those blessings multiplied exponentially in our lives to where we feel it tangibly in our bodies, in our minds, it's now. It's today. It's right in this moment. And we have the power to give that to each other. So I receive that. Can we all just say, I receive it? I receive it.
I receive it.
Let the universe know that you're accepting.
I receive it.
Given. Yes. I receive it. Woo! I received that, Minister Rochelle. She's chatting with us. And so thank you so much. Oh, it's good to see you. Okay, but we got to get to the life study, right? So I'm just going to ask you to place your phones back on mute, video mute, and we'll get to our life study today. So today I want to share, I don't have a series for the month. I'm being led this Sunday and the next 2 Sundays in July as we'll be meeting. I'm just going to be led by the Spirit, see where He's taking us. And today, Spirit has led me to talk about, from the subject, make a name for yourself. Make a name for yourself. You know, each of us from birth, we've been given a name. My mother names me. I'm not sure who named you. Some of you have gone ahead and even changed your name to reflect more about what you believe or think about yourself. And so you've gone ahead and you've changed your birth name, but we've given a name, and that name is what, you know, people used to call us by, right? So when when somebody wants to reach me, my husband this morning, because of time, he was like, Miriam, come down. So when I hear it, right, gets my attention. I know I'm the only one in this house named Miriam. And even if I weren't, I would be called to attention because that's my name, right? And it's also an identifier. We use our names to identify who we are to other people. And that's how people get to know us, by our name. And so a name is very powerful. And like I said, some of us have gone ahead and even changed our name to sort of identify more with how we think and feel about ourselves as we've matured. And so we just want to align our name, what people are going to be calling us, and trying to get our attention by that name. But today I want to talk to you looking at a name from a different perspective, not just what you've been given, or maybe may have changed your name along the way, named by what people call you, but sort of looking at the etymology, the kind of root meaning of the word name. And that speaks to, I want to just lay it out carefully for you, because it speaks to not just what people call you or this identifier, but it's deeper than that. In fact, the root word, when we're looking at the word name, is referred to something, a word by which someone or something is denoted. A word by which someone or something is denoted. And when you look at the word denoted even deeper, it goes to meaning how someone is designated, but not just designated, but a distinctive designation. But it's not that someone else is giving you that name, but rather you are making that name. You are creating that name. You are creating that distinctive designation. You are literally marking your own self. You are creating, making that distinctive designation, and that is how you are known. So people move from knowing you by a name by which you are called or given, to knowing you by how they experience you. So your name takes on a deeper meaning. So when I talk about making a name for yourself, I'm talking about that distinctive designation that people get to experience when they come in contact with you. How are you experienced? What kind of name are you making for yourself? So with that understanding, I want us to look at and juxtapose, if you would, two characters within the biblical text. One within the Old Testament and one within the New Testament. I want to look for within the biblical text. I want to look first at someone that we are very familiar with. He is a father, a pinnacle within Judaism and certainly within the Christian tradition, and that is the character of Moses. So I want us to look at Moses, and like I've said so many times, the Bible is probably the greatest manifest when it comes to understanding human nature and human desire to be, to express, to commune with this power that is beyond themselves. And you see people struggle, you see their humanity, you see them trying to understand God and trying to articulate and maybe even indoctrinate in their way the experiences that they're having, these experiences that they're having in life, and they're trying to give it meaning, especially with things that's unexplainable. When you can't explain it, you try to give it meaning. And so when you look within the biblical text, you see people having that human experience and yet endeavoring to explain the unexplainable and give meaning to their experiences. And so it is a very profound and deep book. And so you kind of bring yourself to the text and extract or extrapolate from it meaning or significance or even symbolism, things that can add depth and insight and revelation and even wisdom to your journey. And that's with all sacred texts, but especially the Bible. So I want to start with Moses. And we all may be familiar with Moses, this character that from his birth, right? He was a chosen person. We see his story that even though attempts were made on his life as an infant to destroy him, but there was like this hand of God, you know, from that anthropomorphic idea of God, this hand of God that's over Moses's life, because Moses has been chosen. Moses is a favorite of God, if you would. And so you see Moses's life played out, and it leads him to a place where ultimately through his journey, he becomes the leader of the children of Israel. And he is the one that, along with Aaron, who worked to secure the freedom of the Israelites from Egyptian bondage. And so here you have Moses, this powerful man, this man that God knows. In fact, when God called him and God is speaking to him initially about what he is destined to do and how God wants to use him and how powerful he really is, but he just doesn't know it yet. You know, God is speaking to him and calling him by name. God is calling him a friend. And so that they have this relationship. And so it is really interesting to see, because you see this character in terms of how he's relating to God and the relationship, that the depth of relationship that he has with God, and how God communes with Moses, and this almost favoritism, chosenness about Moses's life. And Moses, yes, he works to get the Israelites free from Egyptian bondage. And now it's time to take them into the promised land. And so what would happen, there would be times when Moses needed to commune with God, and Moses would go into what is called a tent of meetings. He would find a place under a rock, and it would be, the story goes that there would be a cloud that came down from heaven. And when the people saw it, they just bowed down and worshiped, because Moses would be in there in that cloud. And that represented God, that God came down from heaven to earth to commune with Moses. See, you see what the kind of relationship that Moses had with God? I mean, it's very personal. And in fact, there's a story right in the beginning of that journey from being freed from captivity and beginning that journey to get to the promised land, where Moses entered into this tent of meetings, right? This cloud that is now hovering this rock that he's under. And he began to have this communication with God. And he's like, look, God, you know, you're the one that called me. You're the one that said that you know me by name. You're the one that said that we're going to do this thing and we're going to lead this people into their promise. And I just want you to know that I can't do this without you, that I need you. And I need to know that you're with me. I need to know that you're going to help make this happen for me. This story is all unfolding in Exodus chapter 33, and you can go and read it. And Moses is like, yeah, you know me, and you're supposed to be with me in this, and I need to be reminded that all of this is going to be worked out, because I can lean on you, I can depend on you to come through for me. And this is the conversation. And in fact, in Exodus 33, it says that Moses spoke to God as if God was his friend. So it wasn't even like saying, oh God, and this kind of a glorified reverence, but it was like a friend talking to another friend. Hey, you with me? We're going to do this thing. I need to know you got my back. It was basically that kind of conversation is taking place. This is the relationship that Moses had, right? And in I want to read verse number 17, because God responds to Moses. One of the things God said earlier in that chapter is like, look, Moses, I'm with you and you're going to find rest, trying to reassure him. And Moses still continued, look, I really need to know that you have my back. I really need to know that when I need support, I can turn to you and you're going to be there to support me. I need to know this if I'm going to do this thing, because if you're not in this and if you're not going to provide that kind of support for me, I'm done. Literally, that's the conversation he's having. And so finally, in verse number 17, this is God speaking to Moses right as the story goes. He said, just as you say, I will do. This is God's response. Just as you say, I will do. I won't leave you. I'll be there for you. I got your back, right? Just as you say, I will do. And then God continues in the story. He said, for I know you well. This speaks to relationship. What God is saying is that, Moses, look, I've been with you a long time. I know you well. Remember, we talked earlier about this chosenness, this favorite. He said, I know you well. I have that depth of relationship with you, and you can count on that. And he continues, you are special to me. You are special to me. Wow. That's pretty exciting coming from God, right? And he closes with this. And this seals it for Moses, because once God says this seals it for Moses. It's like conversation shifts. So God says to him, just as you say, I will do, for I know you well. You are special to me. And he says, I know you by name. I know you by name, Moses. That's how deep the relationship is. That when I hear your name, I'm called to attention. I know you by name. That's the depth of relationship that I have with you. And I want to reiterate that you are special to me. And as you have laid it out, I will do it. I will be there. I'm there to support you. So go forth and lead these children, lead the children of Israel to the promised land. Now, I want you to juxtapose Moses' relationship with God and this character that I want to lift up within the New Testament. I want us to kind of contrast the two relationships and see what we can glean from that as we talk about make a name for yourself. So at this point, we see in Moses' story, God is saying, look, I know you by name. And I want you to understand this. When God is saying, I know you by name in this particular story and how it's understood, it's because God has ordained and called Moses from the time he was quote unquote, in his mother's womb, that from a child, God has known him, that literally the name that Moses bears is because of God. It's because of what Moses is destined to do. And so it's literally God placing that name upon Moses. And now Moses is owning that name. So I want you to understand. So it's a name that has been given, and it's because Moses is special to God. It's a chosen kind of relationship that God has with Moses. And Moses now is endeavoring to kind of live up to that name, taking on that name. So I want us to kind of juxtapose and contrast that to this another familiar character we find within the biblical text in the New Testament in Matthew chapter 15. So I'm not going to, like I didn't read all of Exodus 33, I'm not going to do that with Matthew 15. But if you want to go back and read the story, a passage that you may be very well familiar with, I've taught on this passage before, found in the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 15, verses 22 through 28. And this is the story of this Canaanite woman. The woman in this story is identified as a Canaanite woman. And she comes to Jesus in the midst of him engaging people and healing and going about carrying on his mission with his disciples all around him. She is a Canaanite woman, and she goes into the midst of all of that to ask Jesus to heal her daughter who has a disease that they can't put a name on. It might have been epilepsy if we were to use the scientific term for it, some sort of schizophrenia. But they said she is vexed with a devil, but she's having a psychological, a mental health issue. Her daughter is, this Canaanite woman's daughter. And so she goes to Jesus and look, this is the situation with my daughter, and I need you to heal her. And I need you to heal her. So let's talk about this woman. We've talked about Moses. We've talked about the kind of relationship that Moses has and has always had with God, and it just continued to evolve as he matured. But the woman in the story, right, this Canaanite woman, remember that the Canaanites were descendants of Ham and were labeled as an accursed race because his father Noah in Genesis chapter 9 cursed Ham. And it is said that Ham was cursed because Ham had dark skin. The objective of the story in which Noah curses Ham is to be then subservient to his brother Shem. And it's saying because Ham had a corrupt act against his father. And so because of that, Ham now becomes subservient. His descendants become subservient to his brothers. And so this is what relegated the subjectivity of the status of the Canaanites to the Israelites, who were the descendants of Shem, Noah's other son. And of course, we are aware that this story, right, in the time of enslavement was used to justify the enslavement of Black people with the claims that Ham's curse was due to his dark skin. So because Ham was darker skinned, that was really why Noah cursed him and made him subservient. So now the Canaanites are subservient to the Israelites, but not only are they subservient to the Israelites, they are disdained. Oh my gosh. They are, and in fact, they are looked upon as dogs, as Jesus referred to this Canaanite woman when she came to him seeking help. He referred to her as a dog. When she's asking for her daughter to be made well, he said, it is not right for me to take the bread that's meant for the children and serve it to the dogs. He literally called her a dog because that's how they were, and they were dispossessed from their lands. And because they were made subservient, because they were cursed, quote unquote, for their corruption, for Ham's darker pigmentation, and therefore his descendants' darker pigmentation, because they were identified and named as that, then the treatment of them being dispossessed of their lands, them being killed, them being left in great despair and famine was all justified, was all justified. Excuse me. So in the scriptures, the Canaanites are depicted as the bitter biblical enemies of Israel. And in addition, according to Israelites' prophets, it was the Canaanites' paganism, their worship of other gods, which led Israel into idolatry. So you could see how much the Canaanites were despised, were hated. But it started with this identification of who they were. So isn't it interesting when a group of people labeled as wicked and inferior is blamed for the suffering and immoral choices of the perceived superior group? So they're saying, yeah, you're inferior, you're wicked, but you're the one that's causing us to suffer. You're the one that's causing us to make these immoral choices. Okay, but that's another teachings. But what we want to see is that the Canaanites were marginalized in society. They were socially stigmatized, condemned, and seen as nothing more than burnt offerings to be sacrificed in order for the land to be purified. They were identified as sinful people. When you heard the name a Canaanite person, it was associated with all of this negativity, all of this poison. They were identified in Deuteronomy as a lesser people. And because they were identified as a lesser people, then they could be smitten. In fact, the words that's coming out of the mouth of God, smite the Canaanites, make no covenant with them, and show them no mercy. That's the kind of identification that is bestowed upon them. And in Matthew's story now, we see in chapter 15, we see this Canaanite woman coming to Jesus for her daughter. She is from one of the poorest parts of Canaan, because when when they were dispossessed from their lands, they were only left the most difficult terrains and land in order for them to survive, to even grow agriculturally. It was difficult. There was tremendous poverty because of this dispossession. Does that sound like anything familiar to us? Can we identify as people, even as specifically as Black people, as what happened to us and how we were dispossessed? So the writer, he doesn't name this woman, but we are told two things about her. One is that she is Canaanite and she is a woman, right? So, but this Canaanite woman, she really speaks as a witness to us today. She bears witness, right, to the experience of Africans and Native Americans and African Americans and all people living on the margins. And we know that even though people like to blame President Trump is really just a symptom of this nation's problem, and how the original sin of racism and how it was used and how dosed in white supremacy, undergirded by white supremacy, how it was used then to define an entire race, an entire races of people. And so we understand, like the Canaanites, this Canaanite woman relates to people who live on the margin. Because when this president, who is a symptom of the broader society, when he came down that escalator and began to talk about Mexicans and said that when Mexico sends their people, they're sending murderers and rapists, they're sending their worst people. These are the worst people. So at that point, he is naming them, he is identifying them. And remember what we talked about. Once you give people an identity, like the Canaanites were given an identity, then you could justify their dispossession, then you could justify violence against them. You can justify kneeling on someone's neck and literally squeezing the life out of them. 8 minutes and 49 seconds, almost 9 minutes, and literally having the air sucked out of them, the very life. You can justify that. And that's what we see. And we see it happening now with this rampant freedom for white supremacy to come out of hiding and into the forefront to really remind America that this is us. And so it's interesting because this Canaanite woman, this story from thousands of years ago, the Canaanite people from thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago is still speaking to people on the margin today. It's not surprising then that Jesus, when this woman comes to get healing for her daughter, Jesus calls her a dog. So what I want to establish here as we're just juxtaposing these two stories of Moses and this Canaanite woman is that Moses has the relationship. God ends his time with Moses in the tent of meetings under that glorious cloud saying, Moses, I'm with you. You're special to me. I know you by name. I've always known you. To this woman who is seemingly completely cut off from the divine, completely cut off from God, completely, because the gods that they're worshiping are false gods. She's not doing it our way. She's not one of us. She is unclean. She has darker skin. She is the other. This woman then is not known. This woman is not special to God. This woman is not known by her name. Jesus doesn't know her by name like God spoke about the relationship that he had with Moses. And of course, Moses, you can achieve great things, Moses, because guess what? I'm with you. I've always been with you. You are special to me. I know you by name. It's a name I've bestowed upon you, a name of greatness, Moses, a purpose that is so huge. It is beyond anything that you can even begin to comprehend. That's the kind of relationship, and that's the kind of name you're going to be remembered for, Moses. Yes, you're going to make a name for yourself because I have given you that name. It has come nicely packaged for you, Moses. And I'm with you all the way to get it through. But that's not what's happening with this woman who is marginalized and living on the margins of life. She has no relationship. There's nothing bequeathed to her. There's nothing to be lauded about her. Her people have been dispossessed. She is known as sinful, as corrupt, to be wiped off the face of the earth. The only value is how they can be used up. That's how she is known. That's how her entire people are known. It's not just relegated to her. And yet, this woman has birthed something. And she refuses to allow what she's birthed to die. She sees the worth and the value of what has come out of her. And she steps into hell, if you would. She steps into a place where she's not welcome. In fact, the disciples are they're having a discussion among themselves, and they are completely distraught and upset that this woman would dare approach the master, this Canaanite woman, to ask for anything. She deserves nothing. But it's not only the disciples. Here you have Jesus, who is a nice Jewish boy at this point, who is telling her, hey, this isn't for you. It is not right. It's not fitting. You should not be bestowed what is for the Israelites. That's not for you. And he puts it in the terms, it's not right for me to give the children's bread to dogs. That's the way he puts it. And this woman, I want you to kind of understand when she says, oh, I hear you. I get it, that's how you see me. And I'm not here to try to change your mind about me. I'm here because I gave birth to something that is worth living. And whatever I've got to do to make that thing live and make it have an impact in the world and to sustain its life, that's what I'm going to do, because I deem it as worthy. I deem it as deserving. There is, and in that, what she's really articulating is, look, there is nothing wrong with us, and there's never been anything wrong with us. There is nothing missing in us, and there's never been anything missing in us. Everything is for us. I know you're saying it's just reserved, but no, you got to understand how I see us and how I see the life that I've given birth. Everything, everything is available to us. What a woman. See, in this moment, Jesus gets to experience her. She is not waiting for somebody to give her her name. She is making a name for herself, because she is allowing Jesus and those around him to experience her worth, to experience who she is, to experience that she is deserving of life, that she is deserving of goodness, and that she is going to make it happen for herself. And she refuses anyone who doesn't see it or who's not on the same page as her. She refuses to wait for that moment. She refuses. See, this is the thing. You do not have to wait for someone to recognize you in order to make a name for yourself. You do not have to wait for someone to bestow some honor, some recognition upon you. You do not have to wait for it. You don't have to wait for all the details to be worked out. You don't have to wait for the ideal situation. You don't have to wait until all your ducks are in a row. You just gotta want it. You just gotta want to make a name for yourself. You just gotta see yourself as deserving and worthy. Listen, Moses, as great as the story goes about him, listen, listen, as great as Moses is depicted within the biblical text and how he is revered within particular religious institutions and various faiths, he is literally begging God to not to leave him, to be with him if he's going to do what God has supposedly told him that he's created and built for and can do. And yet he's like, yo, I need you to remind me, please, 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 reaffirm me, please, please, please. Tell me that you're my friend. Tell me that you're going to be with me. Tell me, and make me feel good about this. Build me up. Look, he has everything at his disposal. Everything is available to him. It came nicely packaged. I mean, he's having one-on-one conversations with God. The Israelites are bowing, worshiping. They're like, oh my God, this man is amazing. God has just worked with him to help free the Israelites from over 400 years of bondage, and yet he's in this place. And contrast this to this woman who is supposed to be nothing. She's coming with nothing, has nothing to offer, but how she has determined she is going to be in the world, and how then she expects to be treated because of that. She's literally making a name for herself. It wasn't given to her as we see with Moses. She is making it for herself. She is creating it for herself. She's like, you're going to know me. You're going to experience me in this moment. And this is our charge. Whether you came with everything that you need, whether you were born with that silver spoon in your mouth, whether you have that good education, whether you have that great job, whether you had a great, quote unquote, great family unit, whatever it is, whatever you think your advantages may be, it doesn't matter. And whatever you think, if you had nothing, you were born on the wrong side of the tracks, guess what? It doesn't matter. This woman is still speaking to us today, telling us that it's up to us to make a name for ourselves, to draw that line of distinction, a distinctive designation as to who we are, that we get to mark ourselves, that we don't allow anybody to mark us, that we get to mark ourselves through how we allow people to experience us. What do you want? How do you want the world to experience you? Her commitment was that what she's birthing will not die. Her commitment was that what she has given life to is deserving of being fully expressed and fully manifested and not snuffed out. And I know for so many people, they gave birth to stuff. They have dreams and visions and goals, and we wait, we put it off, or we surrender it because we feel we don't have the right, and we don't have this, or we don't have that. So we've tabled our dreams, we've diminished the greatness of those dreams, those ideas, those things that we hold secretly within the deepest recesses of our souls. And so this woman, coming from a people that were dispossessed, although she understood her greatness. This has been done to us, but that's not who we are. And she shows up in that space where Jesus said, look, I'm not trying to change your mind. I just know I'm deserving of this. I just know that I want this. And before I leave this space, I am going to get this. Wow. What a woman. What a woman. Everything is for us. There is nothing against us. Listen, don't look for your dreams to become true. Look to become true to your dreams. Can I say that again? Don't look for your dreams to come true. You see, that's what Moses was doing. That's the kind of relationship that he had. And that's why Moses, as great as he was, could not lead the children into the promised land. He did not do it. He had all the backing. He had all the support. He had the one-on-one with God. He had it, and he could not close the deal. He couldn't do it. He's looking for his dreams to come true. But you don't look for your dreams to come true. You look to become true to your dreams. What it is you're holding, and that's what this woman was. She was true to her dreams, to what she was holding in her imagination, what she wanted, and she brought that forth. Unlike Moses, when she left that space, guess what? You all know the end of the story. She got what she wanted. See, never give up on yourself. Never give up on yourself, because that's what makes you, when you don't give up on yourself, when you don't give up on what you are deserving of, what you're worthy of, and not because you've done anything, not because you were born with this or born with that, not because of any of that, but because of your innate personhood, your beingness. You're worthy of that dream coming true. You're worthy of it. You're worthy of being true and living up to your dream. You're worthy of it. Become true to your dreams. That's what this woman did. So never give up. Never give up on yourself, because when you do that, when you don't give up, guess what? You become the hero in your own story. That's what this woman did. She walked away, the hero in her own story. She wrote it. She created the situation. She took advantage of the situation, and she became the hero in her own story. You all know how the story ends, right? Verse 28, Jesus finally had to concede. Great is your faith. Great is the idea, woman, that you're holding about yourself. Great is your faith. She becomes the hero in her own story. And he says, be it unto you as you want. Be it unto you. Y'all, listen. Be it unto you as you want. Great is your faith. Great is the idea that you're holding, that even though I tried to deter you, even though I was really questioning how committed you were to this, even though I've been taught about you in a certain way, oh my God, but you just showed up here. You became the hero in your own story. You held that idea in the face of implausibility and impossibility. You held that idea about yourself and about what you had birthed. Great is your faith. So be it unto you as you want. What is it that you want? So you got to make that name for yourself. You're going to have to create that name, that distinctive designation. So when people come in contact with you, they experience you in a way that just turns into agreement, reluctantly or even willingly. It turns into agreement. Jesus says, be it unto you as you want. So you don't have to wait. You just got to want it. And when you do, you get to make that name for yourself. People get to experience you the way you want them to experience you. People get to feel you and know you the way you want them, because you're creating that name. Oh, what's in a name? What's in a name? It's not how you identify or what people call you. It's how you are creating yourself and how you are allowing people to experience you. They may want to call you something else. They may want to call you a dog, but guess what? Ha, ha, ha. You are the one who are creating the story. You're making yourself the hero, and you're bringing about what you want. That's some powerful stuff. Be it unto you as you want. So making a name for yourself, as I close, you own up to how great you are. Whether it's been given to you or not. Whether it's through your spiritual evolution, through your failures, your mistakes, your transformations, your enlightenment, you get to understand how great you are. Now own up to how great you are. That's what making a name for yourself is all about. Making a name for yourself, you own up to how great you are. You own up to how resilient you are. Our brother Jeremiah said that earlier. You own up to how resourceful you are. You own up to how much inner dignity and potential you contain. When you make a name for yourself, you rise to a level of greatness, because you are repossessing your own soul. You hear me? You are repossessing. See, in that moment, that's what that woman was doing. She was taking back and owning and repossessing. I know how you try to name, you see, and that's why you have people on the streets now saying Black Lives Matter. That's why people are putting their very physical health at risk to make sure that this time you understand our value, that you see our worth, and that we are going to refuse to let you name us any longer. We're going to refuse to let you call us what you want to call us and dispossess us and demonize us, so therefore you can justify your treatment of us. No, no more. Black lives matter. We matter. We are essential. And it's not because we're living in America. It's because that's who we are as Black people, as Africans, coming from the motherland with that blood and that power and that energy running through our veins. And no matter what white supremacy, whatever power has tried to will to define us, we're breaking that. I mean, it's a powerful, energetic shift that's taking place. You rise up. You make a name for yourself. You rise up to a level of greatness because you are repossessing your own self, repossessing your own soul. And that is a level of greatness that has been ours and has been yours all along. And that's what that woman tells us. This is what I deserved all along. This is who I've been all along. You maybe haven't seen it, but I've come to that recognition about myself. And now I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to allow other people to experience me, to experience that greatness. So I want to encourage you to make a name for yourself. I want to encourage you to make a name for yourself. What do you want to leave? What impact do you want to have as you engage your daily life? And what do you want to leave? You want to leave a spiritual legacy. What does it speak to? You want to leave an emotional legacy. What does that speak to? You want to leave a financial wealth legacy. What does that speak to? You get to do it. You get to make a name for yourself. God bless you so much. God bless you, bless you, bless you. I hope this teaching has been a blessing to you. Listen, even as I was rereading this woman, because she's one of my favorite characters within the biblical text. I mean, I could preach 20 different messages on this woman and take it from various angles, because what she did for her life, on behalf of her life, is so incredibly powerful. And those are the stories you want to leave. And that's that. And for me, I think about it too. I think about my life, and I think about, what am I leaving? What am I impressing? What impact am I making? And that becomes more and more important to me. And that idea, and this is one of the things that I realized too, and I'll end with this. I've ended, but one of the things I've realized too is based on what you are to create and what it is you want. All the resources that you need for that is going to flow to you. Don't ever make a judgment about what it is you want or what it is your life is about based on current resources. Oh, that's so limiting. That's a limiting thought, because we get to dream, we get to envision, and we get to act based on a consciousness of our oneness with infinite power, with infinite abundance. And know that when you engage that everything you need, every resource that you need will come flowing to you. The woman walked away. Be it unto you as you want. Here you go. It's flowing to you. Healing is flowing. Affirmation is flowing. Confirmation is flowing. What you need is available, and it will flow to you. So you don't have to worry about what other people are getting. The resources will align with what it is you want and the name that you are making for yourself. Okay, I can go on, but the hour is late. So we're going to end right there. I do hope that this life study has been a blessing to you. I want to encourage you. I don't know what Spirit has for us next week, but I want to encourage you because I'm feeling that Spirit is taking us to another level, energetic level of power, another level of enthusiasm about our lives in the midst of what's happening. There is something working behind the scenes. And I feel this energetic shift that is going to move, that is moving us up. It's moving us up in our abundance. It's moving us up in our health. It's moving us up in our emotional well-being. There's this energy that is shifting us up, moving us up higher. And so we'll see what Spirit has for us next week. And I hope that you can join us. And I'm going to, yes, it is. I'm going to turn it over